All right, let's get this party started. Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for hopping on today's webinar. We're really excited to introduce this new training to you all. We'll be covering our new nursing clinical skills library and new CareAcademy PowerPacks. All right, so just a few quick items before we get started. We are recording this webinar so that we'll be able to share this recording and the slide deck to you folks and others who couldn't make it later on. If any questions pop up throughout the course of this session, feel free to put them into the Q&A box, and we'll have a dedicated time for Q&A at the end of the webinar. All right, just a peek into what we're going to cover today. So I'll do a quick intro and share some high-level information about CareAcademy and our content library. Then we'll dive right into the really exciting stuff, be showing some demos of our new content libraries, giving some details and use cases and all that good stuff. And then, of course, having some time for questions after that. All right, so just a quick intro about me. I'm Andrew Mantuano. I have been with CareAcademy for about a little over 3 years. My background is mainly in instructional design, and I currently lead the team who manages and creates CareAcademy's training content. So great to meet you all. And I'm going to do a very quick poll before we jump into this next slide, just so we get a sense for who's all in the audience today. I can figure out how to launch it, of course. Here we go, polls. Okay, so essentially, are you a current CareAcademy customer? Would love to know about your background just a little bit. All right. It is looking like a pretty solid, almost a 50-50 split. Very cool. Okay, great. Thank you so much for participating in that. In that case, I'll try not to spend too much time on our the high-level details of CareAcademy, but want to make sure we communicate that to folks out there who aren't working with us yet. So, what is CareAcademy? CareAcademy is a caregiver enablement platform, which over 2,000 organizations have chosen as that platform. We serve both clinical and non-clinical home care and home health agencies, as well as senior living providers. Our content library consists of over 500 learning resources that can be accessed and completed on any device, that pretty much any device that has a browser and a screen, but really designed with mobile in mind. We've had over 500,000 class completions, and or rather, I'm sorry, 500,000 students who've completed classes on our platform. We recently, or earlier this year, we released our full Spanish experience. So we've translated over 120 of our learning resources to be fully in Spanish, and also offering a fully translated learning platform experience as well. So from start to finish, that experience is in Spanish. We also have a very unique partnership with Southern New Hampshire University, in which caregivers can complete CareAcademy classes and earn college credits for a career in healthcare. And lastly, we've had over 2 million class completions. So that's just a tiny bit about CareAcademy as a whole. A bit about our approach to creating training content. So our team uses what we call the CareAcademy guiding principles. So we believe that better training, produces, better caregivers, which leads to better care outcomes. Also greater retention and job satisfaction for caregivers. So how do we do that? We focus on creating competency-based learning experiences that are advancement focused. We ensure our training is relevant to our target audiences. We cover, again, roles from direct care workers, PCAs, homemaker companions, all the way through to licensed professionals. So making sure that our training is really geared towards the right audience. We make sure that our training is engaging. We know that engaging training is more impactful and effective than stagnant training. We've all been kind of victims of death by PowerPoint, which I'm going to try to avoid today myself. And lastly, we strive to create a supportive learning environment that's designed for the folks who are completing our training. Let's see. Okay, just checking the Q&A real quick. So I'll try to keep my eye off that and not get distracted throughout. So again, I mentioned previously that our classes are designed with mobile in mind. We know that a large number of our learners prefer to use their mobile device to complete training. They may not have access to a computer, making sure that that's front and center in our approach. As I mentioned before, we have our full Spanish experience, but we also have a select number of content that's also available in Vietnamese, Hindi, Korean, and Russian. Our training is created really alongside subject matter experts, really embedded into this process. So our wonderful nurse educator, Adriana Ware, thoroughly reviews all of our content to make sure that it's accurate when we're in our development process. On an ongoing basis, she audits them regularly to make sure that they are still up to date and clinically accurate. We also work with other subject matter experts and industry experts to make sure that we're covering the content that learners really need to know and master. And lastly here, our team strives to incorporate scenario-based learning into our content. So what does this look like? We strive to have correct and incorrect examples when we can, and really use a story-driven approach to training to increase engagements, really make that learning memorable and sticky, as they say. All right, so it's just a little bit more under the hood in terms of what exactly is in our content library. I'm not going to go through every single bullet points, but just highlight a few items here. So the first two on the left there, the Nursing Clinical Skills Library and the PowerPacks. Really excited to share more about those in a few minutes. A few other highlights. We have a approved federal HHA program, 75 hours of hybrid training content. We have our ANCAC accredited continuing education training for licensed professionals, and our NAB approved training for administrators. I'll stop there, save you the bullet point reading, but if you would love to dive deeper into this and see exactly what is in our content library, I put a nice little QR code there on the upper right hand corner that you can scan to check out our list on our websites, or just go to careacademy.com. And don't know the subdomain, but the link to our training page is right there as well. Oh, my mouse is going wonky. All right, so time for poll number 2, and this is our last poll. I'll just preempt that. I'm really curious to know what types of roles that you currently train, or really what types of care providers you employ at your agency. And there's a list there for you to select. All right, the initial results look varied, which is wonderful. Looks like the content we're going to share in just a few minutes is going to be relevant to the folks here in the audience. So that's wonderful. All right, thank you for participating in that. And all right, let's get to the exciting stuff. So this is I'm really pleased to introduce and share more about our nursing clinical skills training. Here we go. All right, so what is this library? So it's a comprehensive content library with 33 courses that are geared towards training and assessing nurses using step-by-step instructions on clinical procedures. So this would be great for a wide variety of use cases, but some examples might be using this to create a customized onboarding training program for nurses that are joining your organization. It could be used for preparing nurses for an annual competency assessments, or really just a skills refresher. So it might be, you might have a nurse join your organization, and it might have been quite some time since they last performed a certain procedure, or they just need to brush up on a specific skill. This library is perfect for that. Let's see. All right. Oh, so just another kind of use case that I wanted to share. So, let's see. Sorry, my notes here. So let's say I call her Susie Q. So you have Susie Q joins your organization, and they may not have had training on an indwelling catheter or have performed that procedure in quite some time. So with Lecturia or this skilled nursing training, what you can do is assign this class to the nurse. They go into this class, which is very open-ended. All of the content is accessible right from course launch, so they can locate the specific video that will cover that skill and watch through that. The training is very accessible. And I'll go through a lot of these features in our demo in just a few minutes. But just some details to further elaborate. There are over 170 of these step-by-step videos across those 33 courses. It totals over 19 hours of content, so almost entire season of binge-worthy TV. We're able to offer this content, and thanks to our partnership with Lecturio, who is known as an industry leader in high-quality medical education. The instructor that you see really tiny on screen there, her name is, it's Professor Samantha Ray. She is a fantastic instructor, just really dynamic and engaging, explain things, very clearly and succinctly. While I was reviewing this content initially, I don't have a nursing background, but I found myself being kind of sucked into these videos and learning some things that I didn't know before as a non-nurse, but really high quality video contents. Again, it's very step-by-step, and I'm really excited to show you the kind of multimodal approach that is used within this training content later on. That kind of goes into this last bullet point here, interactive and accessible learning. So in addition to the transcripts, all these videos contain English closed captions to add to that accessibility. There are really expertly designed assessments, and there's just a lot of great options embedded within this training. So and this is just a small sample of the full class list. Wouldn't fit all on the slide in a readable fashion. So just to showcase that this training really runs the gamut from kind of more preparatory skills like hand hygiene, all the way to more of the my colleague on the medical side calls this kind of the ooey gooey gritty stuff. So like the catheters and the perineal care and the more clinical procedures, so medication administration. That's all here. And again, I invite you to check out this full class list at our website here, or scan that QR code. I know QR codes have been around for a while, but I'm just getting around to putting them into my presentation. So I'm welcoming myself to the 21st century here. Okay, so let's jump into the fun stuff. Let's start showing you what this content actually looks like. So what I've done is I pulled up the tracheostomy care course. So you'll notice after I've launched it, I'm at this first screen. The green button says continue because I'd already opened this, but let's dive right in. So first thing, like I mentioned before, as you can notice, everything is ungated and open-ended for learners to access the content that they need at that time. So since this content is not meant to be used for contact hours towards CEUs, it's just really geared towards that that refresher training and kind of skills mastery angle. So I will stop talking for maybe a minute so I can start playing one of these videos for you just to see, to show you how this looks.
We're going to take the soil gauze that's around the patient's tracheostomy site and remove that first. Now, we want to make sure that we're really careful about keeping that tracheostomy tube in place. Go ahead and perform that hand hygiene, put on gloves, and then we're going to use that moistened gauze that we had already prepped and wipe around the patient's neck and under the trach flanges. Now is a good time, guys, since we removed that old gauze, to assess that stoma site and to see if there's any signs of infection or if the stoma site looks healthy. Also, a good tip is to use sterile cotton tip applicators. This is really helpful because you can really get underneath that trach and use those sterile gauze.
Just gonna skip ahead so you can see kind of the dynamic nature of these videos with the
applicators,
different camera angles, the different types of media that are used to instruct.
Because we're going to use this for cleaning as well, and that way everything's open and ready. Okay, so I'm going to take this hand and lift up that flange and use my moistened gauze. Now, if it gets too overly saturated,
turn down the volume so I can kind of speak to some of these features, and I'm not conflicting with Samantha's voice here. But so as you can see, a very high quality video, different like pop-ups on screen to highlight aspects of the procedure. If you look at the video player itself, a bunch of cool options. So you can adjust the playback speed if you're in a rush. There's also an option to adjust the definition of the video if you're in an area where the internet bandwidth isn't great. You can make that adjustment there. I'm going to turn on the captions there so you can see that, actually follow along while I'm speaking. Yeah, and then on the side here, you have the transcript that I mentioned, which is also clickable. So if I'm reviewing this video and I know, oh, I really want to jump to this point, click and the video jumps to that. The playhead jumps to that point. All right, and also, so I mentioned the kind of multimodal approach that's used in this nursing skills training. So all of the classes in this library also have supplemental learning material, which is accessible on the screen here or at the very end on the left side panel. But what this is, I'm going to change tabs here. So these are kind of PowerPoints that show, go through the steps procedurally. You can kind of see that these are the assets used in the video. So you can either kind of print these off, save these, and review later, or have these handy as you're going through the actual video content just as a reference. I know folks kind of like sometimes have those two side by side. And another really cool learning resource are these one-pagers. So this can be used as a job aid or just a study aid, if especially if you're if the nurse is going into a competency assessment situation, or maybe right before they are performing this procedure with a client. These are very comprehensive and well designed. So alrighty, and lastly, here but not least, so the quizzing questions that I spoke of. So these questions are designed to assess across all three of these videos, or however many videos are within the course. You can, since this again is a more open-ended design of a course, the learners can choose to complete that quiz right after viewing that video, or they can just say, all right, I'm just going to wait until the end to see if I've mastered those skills. And what they can do is see, how many they've gotten right and wrong, and then kind of backtrack and see exactly which video corresponds to those questions. So if in this case, since I just clicked through and got, I wasn't trying to get these wrong or right, but I ended up getting all wrong. So I know that, okay, I need to get, or I need to review this material in order to attain mastery. So yeah. that is our demo of that tracheostomy course. Okay. Oh, and looking forward to fielding any questions about the clinical skills training in just a bit. But let's now jump ahead to the CareAcademy PowerPacks. And again, I know I've been speaking for 20 minutes already, just blabbering on, but one of my colleagues, Alicia, has created a lovely teaser video that explains kind of the high level details of PowerPack. So I'm going to let Alicia's video do the speaking for the next 30 seconds or so. All right. Thank you, Alicia. I know you're not on this. Okay, actually, I'm going to leave on this screen while I share just a little bit more to add on to Alicia's video. So this PowerPack content library consists of the 25 video bundles that span those 85 skill areas. So again, a very wide range of content from covering personal care tasks to effective communication skills to more condition-specific care. So yeah, just a really wide range of topics. All right, so over 170 live action videos. This is actually the same as our nursing skills library. What a coincidence. We did not plan for that, but it was destiny. So again, these are designed to provide direct care workers with an avenue to access and complete training that'll help them refresh their skills, learn new skills in certain cases, and really help to also provide the caregiver with confidence in their abilities. So you might use these as kind of like support training or for remediation. If a client or a client's family reaches out and says, hey, I think my caregiver might be underperforming or lacking in this certain skill, or a caregiver reaches out to you and says, hey, I don't really feel comfortable performing this, or I may not even want to work with a client who requires this specific task or is living with a specific condition. CareAcademy PowerPacks can be a really great solution to kind of bridge that gap, build in that confidence, that comfort, help them gain those skills so that they can provide that level of care that your clients and clients' families want and expect. All right, and this third bullet point here on the screen, I'm excited to show you the actual videos, but as you're seeing kind of the screenshots on screen, that these videos were intentionally filmed to be kind of care setting agnostic. We use very agnostic language as well, so that it can be applicable to a wide variety of care settings. Alrighty, let's go on here. And again, just a small smattering of the sample titles we have available in our PowerPacks. Again, invite you to visit our website to get the full list, just so you can see the breadth and depth that this library covers. All right, so I'm going to jump over to showing a bit of a demo here. So I mentioned the effective communication piece as part of being part of this library. And so what we've done here is we've taken related skills and put them into a bundle, or almost like a playlist, so that a learner can access these videos and they're all here, all at once at their fingertips. So let's say you have a caregiver who is really interested in improving their ability to professionally interact and speak with their their clients, friends, and family. So they might access this PowerPack, start watching this video and realize, oh, hey, these are related skills and they're right here. I'm just going to jump right into this. And I am like a self-professed kind of YouTube addict, so I'm really dialed into what makes content recommendations really, impactful, at least for me, or what drives my own like learning. And part of that is seeing related content and having it being easily accessible. So I'm just gonna put on one of these videos here.
Welcome back. Remember, all you need is an open mind and willingness to connect. So let's start learning how to develop healthy relationships with those individuals in your care. First, let's perform our standard care prep. Review the care plan to understand the individual's past and current medical history. Alert them to your presence, greet them by their preferred name, and introduce yourself. You might think that we do these steps a lot, but it's critical to remember that these strategies help form the foundation on which you will build your relationship with the individual. So never underestimate their importance. Trust is critical to a strong relationship. Most of the information you'll have access to in the healthcare field is confidential, so it's vital that you not share any of this data without the individual's consent. Not only is it breaching confidentiality and a HIPAA violation, but it could damage your relationship with the individual to a point that it can't be repaired. Ask questions about the individual's personal preferences.
The audio so I can not conflicting again with the speaker, but as you can see again on the left side here, so all of the topics that we include in our PowerPacks, they have at least 2 videos to cover them, sometimes in certain cases up to 4. So just want to highlight the kind of the depth that we go into these topics. So it's not just a quick 1-minute introduction. In many cases it is 4 parts, a 4-part series of introducing the concept, but also going deeper into different aspects and ensuring that everything that the learner would need to know about this specific topic area, we're gonna cover in this series. All right, let me jump over to a different topic area. So this is the post-stroke care PowerPack, and this kind of goes into that that use case I mentioned earlier in terms of a caregiver may have stroke care as part of their initial training, and they may not be caring for clients who has experienced a stroke maybe in their throughout their caregiving career, but it could be a few months, and their initial training may not include stroke care instruction. But all of a sudden, hey, like Joni is assigned a client, or she starts working with a client that has suffered from a stroke, and she may not feel like she, there may be some cobwebs in terms of her stroke care knowledge from her initial training. It's been a while. If y'all have heard of the Ebbinghouse's forgetting curve, you know that there's research that points to this, degradation over time of knowledge if it's not reinforced, or there isn't additional learning or intervention. So that's where kind of PowerPacks can step in and be that refresher, that instead of that downward trend, PowerPacks bring that level of knowledge back up to kind of even build on that initial investment from the initial training. So they spent that hour initially completing and learning that from that course. And this is kind of an investment into that, making sure that that's retained better over time. So let me just play a quick clip of what this looks like. I'll go into part 2 because that will be more procedural instruction.
Welcome back. I'm Jessica.
Welcome back.
I'm going to show you how to provide care for an individual who has suffered a stroke. First, perform any needed beginning care. Let's start by discussing how to assist an individual with dressing. Always begin with the affected arm or leg first, because the stronger side is usually more flexible and will be easier to get into clothing. Alternatively, whenever undressing, you should start with the stronger side. Also allow the individual to use any adaptive equipment that's appropriate and available. This might include a shoehorn, long-handled brushes, or a sock aid, which can help to increase independence. Assisting the individual with walking and transfers is another essential part of caring for an individual after a stroke. Use a gait belt to support them when walking, and always stand on the individual's affected side while allowing them to lead with their stronger side. You may also be asked to assist with therapy exercises aimed at strengthening extremities and learning adaptive methods for daily care. When speaking to or
And
about
again,
the
just
individual's
these
condition,
videos they were designed in a way
in
that's
relations.
to ensure consistency, consistent learner experience in terms of the look and the feel, but also each of these videos kind of reinforces those, and you heard it initially, what are the kind of pre-care prep steps? Like, what do you need to do first? And at the very end, like, what are the wrap-up steps? And you'll see that throughout the library. I'm just kind of building that good muscle memory in there. All right, so I'll pause there on this video. And okay, so those were our 2 new libraries, and I hope you enjoyed those demos. I'm just gonna take a quick pop over to the Q&A and see what we have. If you're holding on to any questions throughout, please feel free to enter those in. Let's see. So I have someone asking, will you be sending out the handouts? Could you clarify? I'm assuming that you mean the skilled nursing handouts, and if not, feel free to correct me. But no, we'll not be sending out those, like, the PDFs. That's kind of the content that is part of the package. Tommy, you asked, how do caregivers change their language preferences initially and at a later time if they choose to do so? Great question. So the initial caregiver experience, when they log into their dashboard, they'll be asked, hey, do you want an English experience or a Spanish experience? Depending on their choice, they'll be assigned the appropriate curriculum in the language of their choice, and they'll experience either the entire training curriculum and experience English or in Spanish. If they choose to change their language preference, let me check in with our product team on that, Tommy, and I'll circle back with you offline, just so I don't misspeak. Carlita, what is the cost? Great question. So these are add-on packages. So it is an additional purchase outside of what your standard subscription is to CareAcademy. It is a per seat cost, and I'll invite you to go to our websites on the training page to see kind of where that shakes out with whatever package that you're either currently using or interested in. If you're a current customer and you want to talk more about how to add this in, I'd encourage you to reach out to your customer success representative. If you're a brand new customer, feel free to either schedule a free trial so you can get your hands into the actual experience and all of the other benefits that the CareAcademy platform provides, or schedule a demo, which will allow you to see even more of this content and get your questions answered really quickly. Let's see. So Carlita, you also asked, are you authorized for Washington State and Nevada? And I'm assuming, let's see. So for Washington State currently, Carlita, I'm assuming you're asking about the HCA role type. Feel free to jump in and correct me if that's not what you're asking about, but we're not currently at at this time on November 9th, 2003, have an approved Washington HCA training program. We do have the 5-hour ORSA training program approved, but in the very near future, we are going to be offering the core basic online portion of that Washington HCA training program. And more to come, more details will be shared about that for sure. Nevada, some exciting news there, and you'll hear it first. We do have training curricula for roles in Nevada. We are going to be offering additional training around cultural competency and HIV training very soon. So again, keep a close eye out for that announcement and more details to come. Let's see, Carl, I believe this, I covered this before. So it is an add-on, so an additional cost to your current package. Let's see, Tina, does the CareAcademy PowerPacks cover the annual training requirements, 12 hours for HHAs and CNAs? Great question, Tina. So these PowerPacks are not designed to be a replacement or a solution for annual training or initial training. So these are really just geared towards that refresher model and that skill building model. We would still recommend our full length, robust initial and annual curricula for those purposes for HHAs. You mentioned for CNAs as well, that we would recommend our full length courses for that purpose. Alrighty, going over. Oh, Carlita, ORSA. So ORSA is the orientation and safety training in Washington State. It's a 5-hour requirement for the home care aide role. And again, we do have that approved program in our library. Sorry if you can hear my cat screaming at me right now. It's lunchtime for her. Okay. Any other questions I can try to tackle for you? All right. Well, if that's it, if any other questions pop up as you're kind of digesting what we shared today and in our discussion, please feel free to reach out to either me, my email address is right there, or our team at CareAcademy at careacademy.com. One of our presenters will get back to you very, very promptly. And otherwise, if you enjoyed what you saw today, you're interested in speaking more or learning more about this, I again invite you to start a free trial or schedule a demo with one of our awesome account executives. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending, and happy Veterans Day tomorrow for any veterans out there. And take good care. Hope to see you soon at the next one. Bye now.